of the year, and second year, so second of Unlucky Gamers Talk. I am Diego Cutie. I am a veteran in the game industry, in the creative direction and game design. Also, I have an announcement that I can't still say. They told me, it was this week, but no, I can't yet. So stay tuned for next week when I will again say that I can't say it
Yeah,
because
whatever. You are a liar, Tiago. At
I
this
am a liar.
point, I don't believe you anymore.
I'm a liar. I admit it. You might know me from my book. You might know me for my recent game, which are Quiet Place or Star Wars Drive. And of course, I'm here with Uriel.
Hi everyone, I'm Uriel. I'm currently working as a producer at Punkle. I'm the producer on Vampire Survivors, Warhammer Survivors, and some other projects. I've been a game designer and level designer for a few years, so that's still my point of view when we are talking about stuff during these episodes.
No, your point of view is super good on everything. And in case this is the first time that you are watching us, thank you for giving us your time. Unlucky Gamer Talks is me and Uriel that we talk about general things about games and stuff like that. And today we talk about, as you're probably seeing in the title, if I didn't write it wrong, which is absolutely a possibility because I'm
It's
not a streamer,
correct.
we are talking about Ibb and Obb, which now I will share the screen in order for everyone to see what we're talking about. So, do you want to introduce the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ibb Obb is a small indie game a few years back at this point. It's a cooperative platform puzzle platformer for two players. It's shared screen, as you can see, and it's completely physics based. Now, this is the basic explanation of the game. It's just a few hours long, not too many levels, but I think this is one of the strengths of this game, and probably is the first thing that we should start talking about. All of this game is about minimality, basically. As we are seeing on the screen, there are minimal elements. There are two characters. There is an upside and downside on the screen. It's sort of the upside down from Stranger
Yeah,
Things. You have brighter, more colorful colors on the top, and this sort of neutral gray on the bottom. You have opposite physics, so gravity. Okay, both the planes have their own gravity, and you just need to arrive to the end of the level. There are some enemies along the way. All enemies are the same, are these black spiky things in the map. They have a super simple movement, either horizontal or vertical, and that's it. These are the elements of the game. The only mechanic that you can actually actively perform as a player is moving and jumping. Nothing more. You can die. You can and need to use the gravity, the level, and the other player as a support to arrive to the end of the game. So yeah, I find fascinating how so very simple and few elements can create a game that was a small gem of the year it came out. What do you think, Diego, of games that use just the bare minimum to achieve this?
it's actually super interesting concept because doing uh, the minimum is always the most difficult part. So this is true not only for game design but for any part of game production. So having only I don't know a specific type of art, having minimal music, only one instrument, whatever. Basically, the idea is when you are limited in what you do, you always have more complexity, more difficulty in the production. Why? It might seem opposite because, oh, I only have like a gradient, like here, how can this make my level more difficult? And yes, technically speaking, on a technical level, of course, having a gradient is much easier than having, I don't know, directional light, real time, cycle day and night. But on an artistic point of view, it's incredibly difficult. Why? Because you have only one gradient and you need to make the world interesting with a single element, which of course it's incredibly complex. And game design is the same thing. If you have only movement and one type of enemy, basic type of interaction, it means you are very limited. Also, someone new is watching us. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for giving us your time. And feel free to chit chat, have question, whatever we are talking about. So this type of game, which are Portal slash Gravity opposite game, are not unique in any form of way. Okay, they are very famous. There are a lot, and as Uriel was saying, it's a gem game, and it's a typical gem thing that people do. Because it happens a lot of time with things like I don't know, gravity inversion, whatever. If there is a team like this, you're mostly likely to see a game like this one. It's very, very possible. Nonetheless, it's very difficult to see such a minimal game in all the aspects. So minimal in the enemy, minimal in the game design, minimal in the interaction, minimal in the art, minimal in everything, in every single aspect of it. And it is a challenge. Now, I'm not saying that every single person might like this game. Okay, I want to be 100% clear. There might be people that watch this and say, "Oh, it looks like shit," and it is an absolute possibility. I'm not saying it's correct or wrong. It's not about that for me. I'm just expressing how difficult it is to make a game with this limited amount of resources in every department, and not every single person say it looks like shit or it plays like shit. Just having a certain amount of people that appreciate that is incredible result. Of course, there is also something to pay for this, which is if you don't like this mechanic or you don't like this art, there's nothing else that you can do with this game. It is a highly niche experience. A lot of AAA games and things like that, also AAA, AA, they can. Oh, I don't like the gameplay, but I love the story, or I love these. Or I'm not 100% sure about this aspect, but the other aspect is good of the game, and things like that. In Ibb Obb, there's no other aspect. If this is not your jam, so to speak, then there's nothing else.
Mhm.
It's not your game, which is both good because it's very clear what is problem or possibility in this game. It's so bad because, of course, it limits a lot the commercial viability of this product. Also,
Mhm.
there is something else watching us. Once again, thank you for giving us your time. Feel free to say hi and feel free to have question or doubt or whatever. It's a very open chit chat. So, what do you think about this game?
I want to add something actually to what you
Mm,
just said because
please.
I think this is very important. So there is like one major aspect of the game. You either like it or you don't. If you don't, you will not like anything about the game because there is basically nothing else. But if you do, that's it. You will like all of the game because that's everything that is going on. And this brings us to polarization. Very often in game development, we want to find aspects that are very polarizing because it's hard to impress someone while staying in the middle. So
Absolutely.
you want things to either go very very far in one direction or the other, because either way it will be memorable, and there will be
Absolutely.
people who really dislike your game, and there will be people who really really like your game. So having just one aspect and going full force in that specific direction, it means, as you said, someone will hate the game and will find it extremely boring. But those people who actually like the minimal aspect and the gravity mechanic, they are hooked for the whole experience. And this is, in my opinion, this is a strength.
Oh,
Uh,
this is a fantastic strength. You're absolutely right.
because we are talking about I think it's or at least it was, I don't know what they did after, but I think it was a small indie studio. So either way, they don't have the resources to appeal to many many targets. And I think it's a great idea to just aim at one specific target audience and yeah, go all in that. So I just wanted to add this because everything that you said makes total sense.
You see, I agree on that in the sense that absolutely always polarization, especially if you're indie, it is the right system. Polarizing is good because you can't have so many mechanics in any way to appeal to everyone or even try to appeal to everyone. Also, I went a bit further in the video just to show how when we say that the game doesn't evolve visually, it doesn't evolve. So there is still the same enemy, still the same concept. Of course, now you're forced in a section in which you have to must avoid this enemy. Absolutely. Uh, there is someone that are more complex than other to avoid, but still, it's same concept. One is eating the white, the other is collecting the say collectibles, the energy, whatever. Conceptually speaking, uh, sorry, not much have changed. It's just what it is. So, what is the risk of polarization, though? Risk of polarization is that, of course, you don't sell enough. That is the risk. Now, how can you mitigate this risk? Is about making a project that can sell within your copies and your niche and your audience. What do I mean by that is uh, I don't open it. I just open it on my background. Ibb Obb on Steam has basically 4,000 reviews. Now 4,000 with positive review mostly. So we can say the formula is not a perfect formula by any mean, but it's just uh, an arrangement. It's probably around 35. So he sold this game, kind of sold probably something around 140k copies. Okay, with a medium of normally is $8, but you can also find it for like $1, €1. So let's say a medium of €3. It's almost half a million. Okay, it's 420k. Now, is this enough? Well, that's the point. Is it depends. For Ibb Obb, absolutely. I'm absolutely sure that the team behind Ibb Obb were enthusiastic of this result. Is this enough for? Also, I miss it. Hi, Alta Mistral. Sorry, I didn't miss the chat.
Hi.
And so, did is this enough? Absolutely. For Ibb Obb, absolutely. Is this enough for a double A game? No, not at all. Not even close. Because it will not even cover the expenses. So polarizing, yes, but you need to know when you're polarizing, you are selling less by nature, which is not a problem. You just need to know how much space, selling space I have in this area. And if you have enough space to make money, that's fantastic. More power to you. If you don't have enough space, sorry, then it's not a good decision. Now, how can you calculate that? That's super interesting. And it's usually seeing how similar games sell. For example, let's say that you want to make an Ibb and Obb game. Do you know any other Ibb games similar to Ibb and Obb, Uriel?
Mm, let me check.
Because it's
think
very
there is.
interesting here. Yeah?
I think there is something in my library somewhere among. Yes.
TikTok, I see this game called TikTok for two, A Tale for Two. Again, 3,400 copies, so similar to Ibb and Obb. Then let's see.
It would not be a competitor, but Unravel has similar.
But it's not a competitor.
Yeah, it's not a competitor. Uh,
Well, I already found one, as I say, this TikTok. Then let's say Pitfall Planet. Okay, for 2-player, Pitfall Planet on Steam. Only 92 reviews. There we go. Okay, this is a perfect example. So it's called Pitfall Planet. I put it on the chat for anyone to go and see it. So we saw two of these games. One, Pitfall Planet, and one TikTok. TikTok was similar. 3,000 reviews. Now, instead, Pitfall Planet, which has very positive reviews, 92 reviews. So probably like less than 1,000 copies. Now, of course, this is not in any formal way an in-depth marketing research. I just want to show the concept of it, which is here the problem is that if you notice the most of successful game in this hyper minimalistic 2-player gravity based subgender sell around 3,000 copies when they are highly successful, then you can do a market prediction. So you can say, okay, if I will be the best case scenario, it will be 3,000 copies. Sorry, 3,000 review, which means 3,000 per 35. 3,000 per 35. 100,000 copy. 100K copies. Then it means the medium scenario, the most likely scenario, assuming that I make a good game, is a third of this copy. So 30K copy. A bad scenario is a tenth, so 10K copies. And a terrible scenario, it's probably like 1,000 copies. Why this is useful? Because you can think how much money you can potentially make and if the risk is worth it, because let's say, well, you say that I can make 500,000 if I am super good. Yes, but you need to be like the best. Can you really be sure that you will always be like the best? It's not necessarily true. You can always be like the best. Maybe you will be similar to the best. Maybe you will be less than the best. So this is like how you do, how can I call it? Market projection. Once again, this is fast. You didn't research enough. There are probably other games, but is an example. This is a proper no, but is a quick example of a market research. Can I sell enough copy to be useful? And like I guess as producer, you will probably have access to these type of things.
More or less. I had a lot of experience about this actually from my previous work on Dino Patrol, because I was the person in charge of doing all of these kind of researches, and you absolutely need to do all of these before going to any publisher. If you want to approach a publisher, you need to already have all of these researches done in much more depth that we are talking about right now. So yeah, that's super important, and you need to start thinking about all of this stuff from the very, very beginning. If you start doing this calculation now, once you are already halfway in development, it may be too late. If you're lucky, everything goes as planned. But if you are not lucky, it could be too late. You have no time to change the game or to change the scope. And yeah, it can be a bad situation to find oneself in.
And now you are people maybe watching us and say, okay, but why do I care that? Well, it's always depend that you don't necessarily care about it. Nothing stops you to make a game for passion or for it's a jam and you're just doing it and maybe you're lucky. And even if you sell a single copy, it's still a lot of money or whatever. Nothing stops you about that. It's not that the concept or the point or the problem of it. It's that if you want to do that as a job, that's a different thing.
Mhm.
You need to do this calculation.
Yes.
And this is also one of the reason for people saying, games sometimes are, especially expensive game, are not creative. They don't push boundaries. They are always repeating the same things.
Mhm.
And yes, that is partially true. And the reason is because you need to ensure to have enough copy. And it's a fact, and I want to give the most basic but also clear example of this, is a fact that this game, even if it was a masterpiece, which I don't think it is, it's still a good game, but not a masterpiece. But even if Ibb Obb was a masterpiece, will not have the same possibility of audience of COD. Okay, the people interested into doing these compared to the people interested into doing COD, or in general speaking, a first-person shooter, is less. It's just a fact.
Yes.
So it means everything should be a shooter? Absolutely not. So that's not the point.
Absolutely. So I will completely change the
The subject. Let's go.
yes, the subject.
380 degree.
Yeah, because I think one of the interesting, and I will also change
I
my
know.
position on the chair.
Oh,
Just
you
like
see? And now we need to wait a second. Now I'll become where Uriel is. There we go. And Ibb and Obb. There we go.
everything changed. We switched to the other layer. Uh,
Uh,
Sadly, my illness has not changed yet. I'm
yes,
still,
no, honestly, you were here like last week. It's crazy.
it's getting better, but whatever. So I want to try and go back to design because, as I said, I'm working as a producer, and I want to also be reminded of the design aspects that I really, really like. So, going back to the start, we said that one of the interesting aspects of the game was the fact that it's minimal and you have just a few mechanics.
Yes.
I want to highlight how they took basically the Nintendo approach with this, and the game has like zero openly tutorialization of
Oh,
itself.
yes.
So when you start, there is no text, there is not a declared tutorial. It's just
Yes.
here you are, both of you. Here is a line because at the very beginning of the game there is just a line. Here is an opening. You can discover and experiment with the gravity exactly like it's going on right now, and
True.
it without what may appear to be without much effort, it teaches the whole game to the players. Why do I say it doesn't appear as there is much effort, because as any designer will tell you, designing a tutorial, it's actually one of the hardest challenges
Yes.
that you can encounter.
Oh yes.
And
It's insane, like I don't want to interrupt you, sorry, but
don't worry.
I really want to tell that, how insane is insanely hard. Sorry, because I didn't say insanely hard is to make a tutorial. Is of course maybe people that are watching us, it's a game developer, maybe not, I don't know, but I want to be just sharing it, and it's incredible. If you're a game developer, you know it. If you don't know a game developer, please trust me and Uriel in believing that it's one of the hardest things that you can do.
Yeah, you can ask anyone.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
answer will still be the same. So yeah, designing any tutorial is already a challenge. Designing a tutorial that doesn't feel as a tutorial without any sort of text, it's even harder.
Yes.
So it's very interesting how they managed to do that, and it's once again one of the advantages of having a simple game, because when you have few mechanics, it means that you have less things to introduce, to teach, to explain to the players, and it means that you can focus more on that stuff that you do have to introduce. And a few minutes before, I was saying they took the Nintendo approach. The Nintendo approach is basically they present you a a mechanic, and they let you have a few challenges with just that mechanic or that aspect of the game. Once you feel that you are comfortable with that, they introduce a twist on that same mechanic, something new. And this is the whole game keeps introducing twists on the same mechanics. So the mechanic is gravity and jumping.
Yes. And the portal that you see, the white.
Yes, exactly. And the
And
first thing that they introduce is the white portal. Now you can change the plane, so the gravity. At the beginning of the game, you just have the portals, the white portals. Then they introduce the green and pink portals. They are the same as the white one, but the pink portal can be traversed just by the pink player, and the green does the same. So now you have a twist on that thing that you were already familiar with. They at the beginning, these portals are just useful because you can change the plane. You can be up or you can go down. Once you progress further, you discover that if you just sit yourself on the portal, the character will start to bounce further and further up and further down, because of course of gravity. And that becomes something that will be necessary to go on with the game. So the portal, it's not only a way to change the gravity anymore, it's also a way to propel the character. And now it's Alexa. Thank you, Alexa.
classic.
Yeah. So the same exact element, there is nothing different from a feature-wise, but now the same elements has more depth. And depth is the magic keyword here, because
Yes.
they keep finding new ways to add depth to the same stuff. And this is exactly what we are talking about when we mention the less is more, or elegant design. I think that this game is a great example of elegant design. Do you want to explain what elegant design?
No, please. Do explain a lot.
So, an elegant design is basically getting the maximum result with the minimum effort. So you, like in this case, you have the least amount of mechanics that you actually need to get
Alex
a
also say,
result.
yes, it is true. I agree too. I 100% agree. Sorry to interrupt, but
Oh, don't
as
worry, don't
always,
worry.
chit chat, and I appreciate people sharing their opinions.
So you don't need 1,000 tools to achieve something if you get one simple tool that give you access to everything that you need. And this game does it in a great way, just in a masterful way. Now, in this clip that you found, we have actually, I'm sorry for dying, you have actually a new element that was the yellow line. The yellow line, it's like a trampoline, so it's still using the same concept that you have used up until now, but you have something more to use it. If you go on the yellow line, you will jump further up or down. But there are just 2 or 3 of these new elements along the whole game. It means that the whole games achieve going further and creating a higher and higher difficulty. And I can assure you, the game gets very, very hard by the end with the same exact elements that they were using at the
I
start.
mean, you are seeing right now, there are still the same enemies. The red portal is still present. And I also want to add something about the difficulty of elegant design, which is why is elegant design difficult? Because as you say, it's trying to achieve the maximum depth, so the use of mechanics for every single mechanic. Now, once again, something that is very common in game is creating wow moment with uniqueness. I'll give the most classic example of RPG and how it's called and the stealth game or shooting games. One of this typical example for this game is giving a moment in which the player is weak because he lost all his weapon, all his armor, all his gadgets, let's say. Now, why this is a wow moment? Because until that moment, you use it, oh my god, and things like that. Now, another typical example of a wow moment in this game is when they give you a unique new weapon for a small amount of time, like, or you are on the machine gun, you know, machine gun on the, how it's called, on the, I don't know, tank or on the car and things like that. Now, is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. I did it too. In A Quiet Place, there is a wow moment in which is a stealth game, and there is the wow moment which is the chase on a car in which you have a shotgun. So, absolutely common design. Is this elegant design? No, it's the opposite. I created a mechanic to only have one single purpose. That's one single purpose was creating a wow moment, and it definitely did, but it's not elegant. The difficulty of elegant design is how can I make, example, 10 level with one single things? How can I make 30 levels with one single things? And this is the difficulty. This is the part that is challenging of elegance.
Exactly what you said. So I think this is one of the very interesting and cool things about restraints. They didn't have to create the game like this. They could have created more mechanics, more aspects, more features, whatever. They are creating the game. I mean, they can do it, but probably they restrained themselves and they decided, okay, no, the game is only going to have this amount
It's
of feature of or all of the stuff, and this is key when we are creating games. But in general, when we are doing creative work, having restraints, even self-imposed, can be a key to success and to victory because it forces you to find creative solutions to really delve deeper and potentially to find innovation because if you have to fight against or to overcome a challenge that most other developers, for example, didn't have to achieve, because you are the first one that said, okay, my game is only going to have the jump and the gravity as mechanics, then you will probably find solutions that others didn't need to find.
Exactly. Fantastic.
So so yeah, this is something that I really like to do. Also in jams last week we were talking about the game jam, and I think that we can learn so many things for game jams from this game. But this is something that I really like to do in jams. I don't start my brainstorming from things that I could do. I like to start my brainstorming from things that I don't want to do or that I cannot do. I first I write down all of the must not, and then I see what remains.
It's a great, it is a great strategy also for production. Also, at this point, I had to ask it: what kind of game did you made in the jam?
Okay, so one game that was very interesting, and it was a challenge to do it in a jam, I wouldn't recommend it, was a puzzle investigatory narrative game.
Okay.
I was with Giacomo and Gianluca and a few other people. I say the names because obviously Diego knows them. The others probably not. They were all colleagues of mine in Dinova Trails. And yeah, if I remember correctly, the concept was from Giacomo, as always. He is a very great person in creating concept, or in general, he's very, very creative. You had, I don't remember exactly. I think you had multiple possible endings. It was a very comic game, so the mood was very lighthearted. But in the end, you had to find out who killed a person, and he wasn't actually a person; he was a mole. The whole game was underground with animals. So you were at this party, and this mole was like 100 years old. It was his birthday, and he apparently died on the cake. The light went out for a few seconds, and when the light came back on, he was dead. So you start investigating, and you can ask questions to each of the birthday, the people invited to the birthday, and you can speculate on what was going on. Most of the enjoyment came from hilarity, basically. At the end, you discover that the mole, the birthday boy, he was not really dead. He was just having a nap. So all of your speculations were actually useless. But why did we arrive to this concept? We had a very, very talented 2D artist, so we knew that we wanted to give a lot of space to the art, but just in just illustrations. So we eliminated everything that was too action based, because we were not good with animations. We were just very good with artworks. So point and click game,
Makes
great.
sense.
We had a narrative designer in the team,
Ah.
so narrative had to be an important part. We could not make a game without a narrative, because we need to. I'm a producer. If I have someone that can work, I need them to work. And and our programmer did not have full time during the jam to work on the jam, so we knew that we could afford just very, very simple mechanics and few mechanics. We arrived to that concept, but we arrived there mostly from limitations.
Mhm.
And we really enjoyed doing the jam.
It's interesting. I know it's not the topic, but I just want to add something about this, which is interesting because I do something similar when I need to do the evaluation of ideas for the team in a jam, which is usually after the jam theme is revealed, because of course it's important, and the diversifier, which of course are important. I usually go on every member of the team before discussing the idea and ask them, what is the one single thing that you would like to do which will be fucking amazing? And what is the one single thing that you want to do that you think it's that you don't want to do because it's absolutely awful? And I just put that around the theme and just say, okay, now we need to do that. We need to do a game that has all these cool things that everyone, at least one per person, and it doesn't have any of the bad things that everyone wants. And this is a form of limitation, of course, creativity too, but I'd say not exactly uh, innovative or anything, but I just wanted to share it. But yeah, I think Ibb Obb is a perfect example of that. It's a game that stands from the limitation of the team. Why the art is so simple? Probably because the team didn't have time to do art or didn't have a super good artist. Why the behavior of the enemy are so simple? Probably because the team didn't have super good programmer and they wanted to focus fully on the gravity thing, which is incredibly difficult. Switching gravity is difficult, especially in an Ibb Obb, which is not a single line, but gravity, the shift with the objects, basically, the line and things like that. So probably there were the limits, and based on this limit, they created a game that is an amazing game. Absolutely, is a masterpiece. No, it has to be a masterpiece. No, doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It can be just a good game. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece game. It just have to be a good game.
Absolutely. And I I'm looking for it. I cannot find it, but what you described is exactly how we started the Dynapod Trail. We went with and that was not a jam. That was a very long project, but we started by going to every single person in the team and asking them to give us a list of three things that they absolutely didn't want for any reason in the world to work on, and three things that they would have loved to work on. Now, in a jam, I think that's great. From our experience in a full development,
No,
that was absolutely not a good idea. I
no.
would never recommend it again. It came out on the during some
Please
of the
explain to
post mortem.
to the audience why, to the people watching us, because I know why. And I agree. For a jam, fantastic.
Yes.
For a team, no.
Okay, so there are multiple reasons
Yeah, okay.
why
But there is
that's a bad
one that is
idea.
the big one. We know
Yeah,
that.
the biggest one is if you are doing that as a job. This is actually something that we already mentioned halfway through the Steam. But if you are doing this as a job and you need to have some revenues from the game because you need to pay the team, you want to maybe continue the project with other game, whatever, you need to have a certain degree of being sure that you will be able to get those money. And the only way to do, or the most effective way to do this is through the marketing research that Diego was telling you about before. And if you are doing the market research, you need to be very, very lucky to make them concede exactly with whatever the team wants to do or doesn't want to do. If we are doing that as a job, it means that we are professionals, and as professionals we need to be able to work on whatever we need to work. We cannot always afford the luxury of choosing exactly what we want to work on. In our free time, absolutely yes, please do whatever you want to do whatever makes you happy. But when we are working, and in our case with Dynapod Trail, we were working, we did not have that luxury, and we paid that. And still, we did all of the marketing research and etc. In fact, no one was totally happy with the result that came out. In the end, nobody was doing exactly what they wanted to do, and we had to find compromises. Also, because the team is very big, so giving making everyone being happy with the result, it's not it's not so easy. Yeah, there are so many ways, but the most important one is that one. You need to earn money with this if you're doing it as a job.
Yes. I also want to add one more thing, and with this we close, which is also the reason why this doesn't work in a professional is because at a certain point you will have to make decisions that are based on the vision of the game, which can go against what the team want. Okay, for example, I'm
Yes.
randomly saying we are making a football game like FIFA, with a competitive part like FIFA. Probably we're going to have a loot box system. Maybe someone in the team say, "I don't want a loot box system." I understand that. I don't like loot box either. And even if we exclude the economical part, I still understand it. But it might make sense. Even outside the concept of money, exploitation, even if we make the most friendly loot box system in which you don't spend money, it might still make sense to have them. And that's it. And someone doesn't want it. So at a certain point, you want to have the direction, which is okay for a jam. Okay, for a jam, it's we are doing it for fun. We're trying everyone to make a game that is enjoyable. It's just that. It's okay. But for professionalism, no. You need to have a direction. Now I will stop the stream. We're back, and I go back to my original position.
Plot twist. So I will change again how I am
Yeah.
sitting on the chair. Wait. Okay, we're back.
And okay, thank you again for following us. This was the second episode. We talk about a bit again of the jam. To be honest, we went a bit, but because it's in Ibb Obb, it's connected to a game jam.
Yeah, it makes
So
sense. In 2 days, the global game jam is going to start. Yesterday or the day before, they announced the theme of this year. That it's actually interesting. It's masks.
yes, it is still. I think it could have been better, but it's not a bad team. I agree. And well, thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next week with another episode of Unlucky Game Talk.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.